You're listening to Locked On Now, local experts on the biggest stories around the NHL. I'm your host, Kim Becker, and thanks for making Locked On Now your first listen every weekday morning. On today's show, the NHL season continued to kick into gear across the country and in Canada, and our Locked On experts have everything that you need to know about what happened on the ice on Monday. Let's start in Toronto for our biggest game.
The biggest game.
For the first time this season, the New York Rangers met the Toronto Maple Leafs in Toronto. Austin Matthews was out with an upper body issue, but Toronto was 2 at home until the New York Rangers came to town. They won 2-1 in overtime. Let's hear what our Locked On Rangers expert had to say about the big game.
Hey, what is going on, hockey fans? It's John Chick with Locked On New York Rangers here to talk about what was just an absolutely wild 2-1 overtime game for the Blue Shirts in Toronto. Tonight, it was a game that, let's just be honest here, the Rangers had absolutely no business winning, but once again, just like in their last game, it basically just turned into the Igor Shesterkin show. He was absolutely sensational in this game, stood on his head, saved some of his best saves of the night for the overtime period, which, side note, that was maybe the craziest overtime period I've ever seen as long as I've been watching hockey. Just crazy chances up and down the ice, and Artemi Panarin comes up with a clutch goal off of a face-off in overtime to give the Rangers win. I think that was one of 3 face-offs that the Rangers won the entire night. I don't know how sustainable this formula is for the Rangers right now. They've basically been outplayed in each of their last 2 games, but they've won both games simply because Igor Shesterkin has been absolutely fantastic. I know we're only 4 games into the season, but if you want to give a Vezina for 4 games, I think it goes to Igor Shesterkin. He's been absolutely fantastic. Of course, he only played in 3 of those 4 games, but you get the idea. Igor Shesterkin looking like an elite NHL goalie, at least thus far. The flip side of all that, I just mentioned that I don't know if this formula is sustainable for the Rangers, but the one thing that I like here, and cliche or not, there's a lot of truth to it, whether it's hockey or whatever sport it might be, good teams find a way to win games. And that definitely applies to the Rangers right now because they have not hit their offensive stride at all. Not even close. They are missing 2 out of their top 6 forwards in Ryan Strome and Capo Kakko. So finding a way to get the job done, despite obviously not playing their best brand of hockey yet. Hopefully they can find it for this Thursday's upcoming game against the Nashville Predators. But that's pretty much it. We're going to be breaking down this game on the next episode of New York Rangers. Make sure to check it out.
Now let's turn it over to the best performance on the ice on Monday. The youngest franchise in the league, the Seattle Kraken, took the ice with the Philadelphia Flyers. And the best performance was not for the youngest franchise in the league. It was for the Flyers.
The best performance.
Hold up.
The Philadelphia Flyers came away with a 6-1 win over the Seattle Kraken. Just totally on fire tonight. Derek Brassard had 3 points for Philadelphia. And we've got our Locked On Kraken host and our Locked On Flyers host to break it all down for you.
The Flyers played an almost complete game tonight in their 6-1 victory over the Seattle Kraken. This is Rachel Donner from Locked On Flyers with your post-game reaction following the Dave Haxtell Revenge Tour against the Seattle Kraken. So many contributions to this win. It's hard to say it was anything else but a complete game. You had 2 goals each from the top 2 lines, a strong forecheck through most of the game. The penalty kill was incredibly effective, and goaltender Carter Hart turned in a spectacular performance with a highlight reel save in the first and consistent work throughout the rest of the game. I think that they had the right level of energy with a lot of battles on the ice and maybe in the penalty box as well, but it was so much fun to see the guys firing on all cylinders. For more on tonight's victory, listen to tomorrow's Locked On Flyers wherever you get your podcasts.
Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, and sometimes you get your butt whooped. My name is Erica Lindsay Ayala. I am your host of Locked On Kraken, and coming to you shortly after the Seattle Kraken fall to the Philadelphia Flyers on the road 6-1. Now, the only goal for the Seattle Kraken came from defender Carson Soucy, able to pot one away, but the damage was already done. Philip Grubauer would leave this game at the roughly the 11-minute mark, and enters Chris Driedger for his first appearance as a member of the Seattle Kraken. Drieger likely will get the start in New Jersey against the Devils tomorrow. Not a great game. A lot of the things that we have been saying here on Locked On Kraken that have been an issue for the Kraken were an issue for the Kraken. And it just compounded. Not a great game. Long road trip. The Seattle Kraken now have to just wipe this one off the board. It was the penultimate game before they return to the West Coast in preparation for the home opener at Climate Pledge Arena on Saturday against the Vancouver Canucks. If you want more on this and the matchup between the Devils, make sure you stay locked on Kraken and make us your first listen every day.
And coming up after the break, we'll take a look at the Ducks, Flames, and Blues, Coyotes. You're listening to Locked On Now. Welcome back to Locked On Now, and thanks for making Locked On Now your first listen every weekday morning. I'm your host, Kim Becker, and now we will take a look at the St. Louis Blues versus Arizona Coyotes game. The Blues came away with the win 7-4, and they have yet to lose now, while Arizona has yet to win. So unfortunate for them, but we do have both of our local experts coming from the St. Louis Blues and the Arizona Coyotes here at Locked On to give you the recap.
Let's go around the league.
Louis Blues came away with a 7-4 victory in their second game of the season. In a matchup against the Arizona Coyotes, this win was fueled by an amazing second period performance from the Blues offense, capitalized by 5 goals in 5 minutes and 7 seconds. And the leader of the pack was none other than Jordan Kyrou, who continued his hot start to the 2021-2022 NHL season with 2 goals and 2 assists for 4 points on the night. His second goal was an absolute beauty. Clem Costin with 2 goals as well in his season debut. Buchnevich with his first goal in a Blues uniform before getting a match penalty. So the league's going to take a look at that one. A lot of takeaways from the game, but overall a great win. Questionable performance at the end there, letting the Coyotes creep back into it, but whenever your team puts up 7 goals, it's always a fun night. So hopefully the Blues can build off of that moving forward. As always, let's go Blues.
That was an episode of Locked On Now NHL. Thanks so much for making Locked On Now your first listen every weekday morning. I'm your host, Kim Becker, and for more local experts and analysis, make sure that you tune into your local Locked On podcast. Locked On, your team every day.